So I just start recording. This is how to make $50,000 a month. Being as I am, I'm a coach. I understand people at the deepest level. I utilize my interpersonal communication skills to provide others with the leadership to maintain a network of high level, like minded individuals within a mastermind program. I am magnetized to the right people at the right time. And like I love being around the people that I work with. Uh, like the effortless way in which you can trust yourself to connect with the right people at the right time in order to benefit you at the highest level. And through that, you can shift into your highest reality. I continue being as I am, and miracles follow being as I am, putting my heart and soul into everything I believe in and stand for. Now, how well that one lives in alignment with their values, putting others in front of their own, starting to think of why, to understand where that comes from. That's a person that I worked with, a couple of their notes, and uh, he was seeking the truth in the Bible. And so finding that uh, one thing that he was taking into account at the time was the more money that he made, the happier that he was going to be. And he realized now that it's about the quality of relationships, right? Taking care of his children and how much value and fulfillment he gains from maintaining his family and putting in the work that he does in order to support people. Like having the satisfaction of raising people to be better than you were. It's eternal, right? And like to, those with people who weren't raised like that, who don't understand that sense of value in that, I hope that it does come to light how fulfilling that relationship is and the depth of experience. Certain things you just have to experience to really know and to really go out there and put yourself in a space where you get it and you feel like that's exactly where you belong, and to trust that you're always making your way to the best case scenario, and really not just start thinking that but feeling that, like somatically, to be able to breathe and like trust in. I have a sense of like deep rooted anxiety within my gut. I have this like, palpitations in my heart. I have all these thoughts that are running through my brain, right? Like all of these things to, uh, you know, our genitals and through head to toe, like the entirety of the electrical system of your body. You're going to have these different flashes go through, different neurons firing, not only through the nerves in your brain, but the nerves throughout your body, and everything, every feeling that you have, every piece of anxiety and what it's telling you about yourself and your self concept, and whether it is coherent in that I really believe that I'm a coach and I could talk about these things with people and resonate in a way that makes sense. And so I think that's why I come on here and I do this, because I do it for me. I haven't really done it for a lot of other people. And so if I could help anybody out, like it's really imperative that I reach like people that want to know more about themselves. Like I recognize in the depth of my being that I am other people, and these other people that arise within my awareness are just as much me as anybody else. They're just like a direct reflection of who I am as a person, and the fact that when I look in the mirror and I feel congruent about me doing the right thing and me showing up for myself and my family and maintaining these values, I think it's really important to be able to maintain high morale when you're moving and to have compassion for yourself through your joys as well as your fears and your suffering. And in a relentless pursuit of the truth and under what my assumptions are through scouring data and looking at logical fallacies within systems thinking frameworks. And so to think in terms of quantum mechanics and quantum states at all times, and to recognize that the state that you embody and you assume and become the most aware of is the one that you're going to continually manifest, right? You don't get what you want out of life, you get what you are out of life. And me, I live at home with my dad and my siblings. I sleep on a cot, and when I had the opportunity to hitchhike across the country and join up with the Hare Krishna and study at the ISKCON Temple of Houston. I had 2 months there of waking up at 3:30 in the morning every morning, getting a shower, going over to the temple, and I would walk over, and obviously it's still dark outside. You can see the moon still, and certain days it'd be colder out there, and I remember a time where I was uh, outside in Baton Rouge. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I was sleeping outside. It was like 45 degrees out, and I found like a little laundry room that was there, and it was so warm in there. I was so thankful to find that little spot. That was a haven for me. I found the warmest spot in the joint, and I really came through and learned so much about this whole different culture of the world, uh, a colonized people of India who have, some of the most wealth ever at the height of their empire, and the fall of the empire is pretty topical. And I think when you see the perseverance of thinkers like Sri Aurobindo, who really inspired me in my journey, he was like the Martin Luther King Jr. of India. And Sri Aurobindo had a career in politics, and he was imprisoned for a year. And he kept on getting these signs that he should pray more and focus on his spiritual life. And when in prison, he had the opportunity to do that. And he was isolated from the world. And he wound up going to school previously with the judge that presided over his case as he grew up in Britain. And under imperial rule, he understood what was going on. And with his education, he went back and advocated for Indian rights. And like for India to have all of their rights back, there were some proponents where they believed that India should only get some of their rights back. And he said, no, no, we're getting all of our rights back. We're an entire empire. Like we have our own history, our own culture. This lineage, this is who we are. Like you can't take that away from us. Like even though the people are colonized, you can't take away their identity. Right? It's just not non. It's a non-negotiable. You can't take away who these people are. And through his advocation and his energy, he was able to help gain everyone their rights back. And it's still it's still so powerful to this day that he wound up making an ashram in Pondicherry, India, and he has another ashram in Lodi, California, about the human development, about training in a way that is most beneficial to the development of consciousness. And my fascination with him, as well as Ken Wilber, are really beautiful for me in terms of what it means to be someone who studies human development and to have the optimal way to chart myself on this map here. Like going through and seeing uh, all these different stages, and to be able to say like I'm trying to avoid pain and danger and seek pleasure and safety and release, and I'm trying to protect myself and make the best of my opportunities in alignment with my beliefs and my values and my understanding of the way that's the right way to live life. And so, like, through my attempts at socially acceptable behavior and trying to fit in with what the group dictates is the right way to live and the right way to operate within group norms under authority and approval. And through understanding like more effective operations and craft expertise in that, knowing that I'm most effective in the space that I'm operating in, and I trust myself to find the most accurate way to solve a perceived problem and do the best that I can in order to be the best, to to go all in, because the thought of the old school like pull yourself up by your bootstraps way of being and like effort based programming in working your way up slow, it doesn't happen. And so to be like, well, how do I boom the most as fast as possible? And really that's like, you model yourself after the AI market like that. And so you're just trying to boom all the way up until the bubble pops and you could get your cash grab and you could get out. And being aware of like my position within this sense of like interrelatedness, like It's just not practical, right? To force myself to have some kind of other identity that isn't accurate. And so to have an understanding of my direct paradigm within this historical time period and experiencing like what I believe to be my core self and what I attach to my identity and what kinds of sub personalities pop up when I'm in different kinds of states of consciousness, and how do I interrelate with these different facets of myself that have different desires every day. And then in comparison to cross historical understandings of things, like my parents were teenagers in the 90s. That's a whole different world. Like empire peaking, pop culture is really popping. Michael Jackson was pretty cool at that time. You know, I think everybody likes Michael Jackson. These kinds of things uh, were just huge, like undeniable. And these things were so static and rigid. And you get so convinced of like one way of being that this is the way that, like, when it starts to not go like that, you might start to get confused because of a lack of coherence. And that's where something called cognitive dissonance is created, where you're holding on to one thing and you're not willing to accurately engage with the information at hand because safety mechanisms start to kick in when what you believe in is considered and told you to be wrong. And it happens to everybody, considering like everybody's wrong in varying degrees. Nobody's perfect. And so to be better at understanding like ourselves as this story and this narrative that we keep on creating. And as we continue to be as we are, living in this capacity with the awareness of egoic identifications without identifying with any one of them exclusively, right? Taking powerful action and non action without attachment to your outcomes, with compassion for the growth and evolution and the joy and the suffering of individuation and existence. And to care so deeply about the joy and suffering of all beings. It's it's very much important and something to be conscious of when it comes to the emotions that we are engaging with, because the emotions that we're not engaging with, we are still subconsciously engaging with them. And so, if you're not self aware enough to look at your shadow and be like, that's not how I look, I don't look ugly, I don't look like, this or that, like, just show up and be honest with yourself, right? Like, are you really who you say that you are? Do you really believe in what you got going? And why do you keep going if it's not going the way that feels right for you? If you're not trusting your intuition, if something feels wrong about it, there's likely something wrong about what you got going. And a lot of the times we'll hang on so tightly to what we think is what is ours, just for it to slip through our fingers because you hold on too tight. And a lot of the time, the world will take a lot away from you to to show you how bad you want it. And one might think that it's a challenge going one way, and you might think, okay, if it's the universe and it's really on, and you're talking about, all right, it's gonna show me how bad I really want it, and that'll consume you, and it'll be what you spend everything on, everything. How bad do you want it? How bad don't you want it? Because there's a huge part of you that doesn't want it. There's a lot of there's a lot of me that doesn't want the success, right? That's why I don't really put videos out like that. There's a part of me that doesn't want to be seen because I feel like it's gonna fire people up, right? Because when you're talking about mental states and you get so raw in your feelings and your thought process that it can be triggering for a lot of people, this kind of depth. And like taking the time to understand myself at this level, that I know no matter who I talk to, at what level I'm talking to them, right? There's all these things that we have in common in the way that our thought process works. And this feeling of understanding these states that we've been able to understand and develop at like a soul level, I really appreciate it.